welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is Thursday, it's 9 o'clock, which means it's time for a Magic Stuff. And today I'm going to do another in the Hows and Whys series, and this is going to be one that a lot of people have requested. It's the Hows and Whys of Digital Force Bag, DFB. What is Digital Force Bag? Well, Digital Force Bag is an app. And so why am I doing a Hows and Whys on an app? Well, the reason is, in my opinion, and don't forget, guys, I have been obsessed about Magic apps for years. I know most of them really, really well. I use a lot of them. But in my humble opinion, the Digital Force Bag app has so much more potential compared to any other app. I'm not taking anything away from other apps, but there is so much you can do with DFB. And, before the video even starts, I want to say a massive thank you to Nick Einhorn, who brought DFB to the market, because, I've seen so many magicians use it. I've seen so many people kill with it in so many different situations. So what I want to do in this video is I just want to talk you through some of the ways that I use Digital Force Bag. We'll have a look, first of all, at what it is and what it does. And then when we've done that, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite routines that I use DFB for. And hopefully it's going to inspire some creativity amongst everybody that's watching this. Because the one thing that I've found is a lot of people use Digital Force Bag in exactly the same way. They do exactly the same routine. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's so many other things that you can do with it, especially if you layer it into a routine where there's other stuff going on as well, if that kind of makes sense. So let's start the video off by talking about what DFB actually is. So DFB, or Digital Force Bag, is an app. It is available on the App Store for iOS. It is also available as an Android app. And what is it? It is basically a way of using your phone to force absolutely anything. And when I mean absolutely anything, I genuinely mean absolutely anything. If you've not seen this before, a typical routine would run like this. You would say to somebody that you've got a note on your notes page, you have a particular note, a list of 100 things, whatever that may be, and you ask them to give you a number from 1 to 100. You open up the list, they go down to the list and they look at that number and they look at the thing next to that number, and you've forced it, okay? And they can look back and forth through the list. It genuinely is, every single item is different, but the item next to the number that they have selected is your force item. That's basically what Digital Force Bag is. When it first came out, it's a paid app, obviously, and it's worth the price of the admission and then some. When it first came out, you just had one version where you had pre sort of package lists. There was a list of celebrities. I've had it for so many years, I can't even remember. There was a list of celebrities. I think there was a list of grocery items, maybe something else as well. And you had the ability to create your own lists as well. Since that, they've brought out a pro version, or a paid version, which I know a lot of people are actually paid for, which allows you to create multiple lists. Because that was one of the big problems with Digital Force Bag. You couldn't create multiple lists. And, for somebody like me who has lots and lots of ideas that I use Digital Force Bag for, having the ability to have multiple lists is really important, because in a gig situation, I can use Digital Force Bag in so many different ways, and I can switch literally within seconds in between lists. So I can do one particular routine on one table and do a completely different routine on the next table. So I would highly recommend getting the pro version. There is also now a pro version available for Android as well. And in essence, that's what DFB is. That's what Digital Force Bag is. It is a way of being able to force absolutely anything on a spectator, just by having your phone. If you've got your phone, you're good to go. The other nice thing about DFB, by the way, is it's not reliant on having an internet signal where you're performing, which is really important. There's some great apps, some absolutely fantastic apps that rely on having access to the internet or having access to Wi-Fi. And I've gone to lots of venues in the past where I've literally got nothing. The phone is, in essence, on flight mode because there is literally no signal in this building. Well, that doesn't affect Digital Force Bag at all. Whether you have signal or not, it makes no difference because it's all running inside your phone. And as I say, the other advantage is you can switch between lists very, very easily. excuse me, as well as being able to switch between lists, you can also switch between force items on the list very, very easily as well. So in a minute, I'm going to perform for you what I consider to be the classic DFB routine. And with that routine, you'll see that I use it to force a particular celebrity and a particularly grosser item, which is kind of the classic routine. If I want to do that routine on the next table, I can very easily go into the app and just within a couple of seconds, I can change what the outcome will be. So it's a different outcome every time. And I think that's important. A lot of routines in the past that I've loved, I've ended up not putting into my set because it's the same outcome every time. And if you're in a like a wedding where they're all speaking to each other, they're very soon going to cotton on if you've done this trick 3 or 4 times that they've had the same outcome every time. So having the ability to not just change lists, but also change force items in the list is a fantastic feature. Anyway, that's what Digital Force Bag is. What I want to do in this video is I want to share some routines with you. So if you have DFB or you're considering getting it, it might give you some ideas as to where you can go with this, if that kind of makes sense. So let's first of all have a look at the first routine, which is what I consider to be the classic routine that I see a lot of people doing with Digital Force Bag. So this is the first routine, and this is one that I see a lot of people doing, and I wanted to touch on this because obviously it is a very strong routine, and I think Digital Force Bag initially sold off the back of people doing this particular trick. What it is in essence is you have somebody, basically I do it on 2 people a lot of the time when I'm in a real world gigging situation. I'll have somebody that I'll tell them that they're going to be the person selecting from a list of celebrities. I'm going to have somebody who's going to be selecting from a list of grocery items, and before I do anything I borrow their phone and I say, hey, can I borrow your phone for a minute? I'm just going to do an image search, nothing dodgy going on here, and I blow the image up on their screen, switch the phone off, give it back to them. They look at the 2 lists, they picked a grocery item and a celebrity, and when they look at the picture afterwards, it matches. And you'll see in the performance in a second exactly what I mean. The live performance footage that you're going to see here is actually, I did it over the internet. I actually did it on a Zoom call with a friend of mine. And I wanted to do it this way to show you that you can actually use Digital Force Bag very, very easily over Zoom in a virtual show. And I do use DFB in an awful lot in a virtual show. And I've seen people post in groups about virtual shows and say, oh, have you got any, is there a way that you guys can suggest for forcing a particular item? Digital Force Bag's not going to work in a virtual show. Well, it does work in a virtual show. It absolutely works really well. The only thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you've got the brightness settings and everything right on your camera, because when you show the thing to the screen, when you show your phone screen to the camera, you want them to be able to read that phone screen nice and easily, if that kind of makes sense. But when I do it over the internet, when I do it on sort of a Zoom call or a virtual show, what I'll do is I'll get the person's phone number first of all, and I'll text them the prediction. So rather than borrowing a phone in a gig situation and searching for an image, I'll text the image over to a person I'm performing it on, and I'll say, don't open it up. Have you got that text? You have. Brilliant. Let's get back to that in a bit. And you'll see that in the performance right now. Now, obviously, as things start to open up around the world and COVID-19 becomes less of an issue, we are still going to have an element of social distancing. So one thing that you might want to consider is doing that text message prediction in a real world situation. Then you don't have to grab their phone. Then you don't have to hold their phone at all, if that kind of makes sense, right? So let's have a look at this performance. This is a performance of me performing the classic Digital Force Bag routine to my friend TJ. Watch his reaction. He'd never seen this before, and you can see how blown away he is with it. It's a fantastic routine, and it's very, very commercial. Let's have a look at that right now. I am going to text you a photo.
Okay.
And I don't want you to look at the photo.
Okay.
I do want you to confirm that you do have indeed got the picture.
Okay.
Just don't open it. I don't want you to look at what the picture is, but I do want you to confirm that you've had the text message.
All right. Wash hands on.
So I'm just texting you now.
Yeah, I've got a text.
Hey, don't look at it.
I haven't looked.
The reason I've sent you that is because that basically commits myself. I'm telling you right now that even though this is going to appear very random, the end result, hopefully, will match that photo. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm obsessed with making notes. I like on my notes page on my phone, I have thousands of notes. Yeah, same thing. I abuse the notes page on my phone. And there's two notes in particular that I've got on here. I've got a list of 100 random celebrities that I got off the internet. And I have a list of 100 random things that I found in a shopping market. Okay. So 100 grocery items or something like that, right? So I'm going to get, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do, actually. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to pick from these lists completely at random. And we're going to start off with the celebrity list. Now, there's 100 different celebrities on that list.
Yeah.
I'd like you to commit yourself before anything. And before I show you the list, give me a number between 1 and 100.
77.
Are you sure?
Yeah. 100%.
That's a coincidence because that's my age. So you sure you want 77?
maybe the year you were born.
So here you go. So there's the notes page. Can you see it there?
Yeah. I can see it.
Yep, there you go. And you can see all the different notes on there, can you?
I put the characters.
You see celebrities on there?
Yeah, celebrities, groceries. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go with celebrities right there. And you can see that they're all different. And it doesn't matter whether I see it, but as I scroll up, you can see that all the celebrities are different. Can you see who's at 77?
Not yet. Keep going. Oh, stop. Yep, I got him.
Okay, so who is it?
Tom Cruise.
And that's a free choice, right?
Yeah.
If you'd had 81, you would have had Johnny Depp. If you'd had, I don't know, 70, you would have had Drake. The point is they're all different, right?
Yeah.
Now, we're also going to pick from the grocery items list.
Okay.
You have a choice to make again now. Do you want to stick with the number 77 or do you want to go with a different number?
No, I'm going to go with a different number.
And what number would you like?
28.
Are you sure? Because that's my IQ.
I'm sure.
Sure. Okay. 28, yeah? So 28. So once again, there's the notes page. And oh, hang on, let me open it. There you go. Here we go. Do you see grocery items?
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. There you go. And you can see they're all different.
Yeah.
D28?
Yeah.
What is it?
Coca-Cola.
Okay, Coca-Cola. Now, if you'd have stuck with 77, you would have ended up with
gin.
Gin was infinitely would have been a better choice, but okay, Coca-Cola. That's fair enough. And the point is, no one could have known that ahead of time. Agreed?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, Coca-Cola. And
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Interesting. And do you remember I said that before we did anything?
Yeah.
I would send you over. I sent you over a picture.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
The picture that has been on your phone the entire time.
Yeah.
It's been there from the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
The picture I text you over.
Yeah.
And I said, this is going to freak you out.
Yeah.
Open up the picture and have a look at it.
This is brilliant.
Show the camera.
Tom Cruise drinking a Coke. This is brilliant.
So there you go. That's the classic routine. I mean, you saw the reactions that TJ gave, and the reactions are that way for a reason. And the reason is very, very simple. It's such a strong routine. Now, in that situation, obviously, I was using Tom Cruise drinking Coke. In the past, I've had Ed Sheeran eating a pizza. I've had Donald Trump eating a burger. I've had Barack Obama eating a hot dog. I did a wrestling thing once, and I had Hulk Hogan chugging a beer. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do. If you just go on Google and you search for it, you're good to go. Now, if you're going to text the message over to somebody, my advice to you would be to have in your create a photo album with just like 7 or 8 different photos in there, right? And have the 7 or 8 different force photos that you want to use, and then when you're doing this and you want to text it over to them, you can just pick the one that you're going to use in that particular scenario, if that kind of makes sense. So there you go. That's the classic routine. That's what a lot of people use Digital Force Bag for. But as I say, you can actually take this in a completely different direction. And what I mean about taking it a completely different direction is I think Digital Force Bag's even better when it becomes part of a layered routine. Okay? Now I'm going to show you what I mean right now. Let's have a look at the next trick. So what you're about to see right now is a version of Wildcard. I'm a big fan of Wildcard. I've been doing it for years and years and years. Peter Kane's Wildcard is absolutely amazing. Now, the version I'm actually performing right here is Assy Wynn's Wildcard, which he taught on the masterclass from Vanishing Ink. Now, his handling is based off Tommy Wonder. So he based his handling off Tommy Wonder's Wildcard. But it's basically, in essence, this is what you're about to see is Assy Wynn's Wildcard. Now, he uses, let me explain what Assy does first of all. He uses blank cards, and he shows he's got blank cards, and they're blank on both sides. And he does it with a person's name. And he'll get that person's name before the show. So, for example, if you were booked for somebody and it was their 50th birthday party and the name was James, you might do this with James, and you'd set it up and you'd do it once and one time in the evening, and it'd be to James, and it'd be a special trick for him, right? Now, I like being able to perform a routine that I like more than once. I just do. It's something I'm into. So I loved Assy's idea of using a name on a card. I love that. But what I didn't want to do is be restricted to be able to perform it to one person once. So what I did is I changed it around in a few different ways, and you'll see this in the performance in a minute. But the first thing that I did is I added the your name gag, which kind of really works in this context. So you're not talking about cards that are blank on both sides. You're talking about cards that are blank on one side, and you'll see this in the performance. And then what I do is I pick a force name, and I have that set up. I have a list of 100 random names set up in Digital Force Bag. So now they feel like they're having a completely free choice of name, and it becomes the first phase. It's kind of like I've added a phase. The first phase becomes a prediction routine where I get them to say stop anytime they want to, and wherever they say stop, I put the card down there, and then they see that all of the cards have got your name on it. So there's the gag, but the card that they picked has actually got the name that they picked on it, which is a nice phase. If you just stop the trick right there, that's actually really good. But then that allows you to take all the other cards that have got your name in it on them and turn them into the same name. And notice on the video, you're going to see the performance in a second. Notice I used 2 different colored Sharpie markers, which really makes the change more pronounced. Now let's have a look at the performance. I don't know if any of that made sense to you, but it will make sense to you when you watch the performance. So this is my handling and my variation of Assy Wynn's Wildcard using Digital Force Bag. Let's have a look at that right now. Crazy. I've got some cards here. I've got some blank cards. It doesn't really matter how many we've got. That's going to be kind of a prediction. Now, I'm here with Ryland and Thea. We're going to try and do something here, guys. Now, Thea, I'm going to ask you in a minute to pick a boy's name. Now, I'm going to do it completely at random, because the thing is, if I asked you to name a boy's name, there's certain names that people always think of. So we're going to do it at random. We're going to use my phone. On my notes page of my phone, I actually have a list of the 100 most popular boys' names in the UK. So we're gonna pick one of those names at random. You're going to give me a number between 1 and 100. Any number between 1 and 100. What number would you like, Thea? Whatever number you want, we'll look at what name is next to there.
Number 5.
5. Do you want to change your mind, or are you happy with 5? That's quite low. I don't want you saying later on, Thea, I made you pick 5. Are you happy with 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So check this out, guys. Make sure I'm not cheating. Have a look at this. There's my notes page. Turn it around so the camera can see it. There's my notes page. Now, you can probably see there, top 100 boys' names. Ryan, can you read what's at number 5?
Dave.
Dave. Okay, Dave. Interesting. And, you know, it could have been anything. That it's not like Dave is at every number. They're all different, right down to Ezra at number 99. 100 different boys' names, but Thea went with Dave. Now, Ryan, we're going to try and do something with you. I said that I've got a prediction. I've got a whole bunch of blank cards here. You're going to pick one. As I go through them, just say stop anytime you want.
Stop.
Do you want that one or that one?
That one.
That one right there. I'm going to put that right there. Now, you could have had any one of these cards, right? But you had that one right there.
Yeah.
If all of these cards had your name on it, would that be good?
Yeah.
Seriously, Thea, if all of these cards had your name on it, would that be good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't it? And they all do. Look, that one's got your name on it. 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 So's that one. So's that one. So every single one of these cards has got your name on it. You don't look very impressed. But Ryland, you picked that one right there. And Thea, you picked a name. What name did you pick? You picked Dave, didn't you?
Yeah, Dave.
and you pick one card. Here's what's really weird. It says Dave right there on the card that you picked.
Dave.
Isn't that weird? But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, what would have happened if you'd had another one of the cards? Well, it wouldn't have mattered. You see, if I take one of these Your Name cards and rub it next to the Dave, that one there turns into Dave as well. Let me try that again. If I take another one of these cards and just rub it, that one there turns into Dave as well. I can do this as many times as I want to. All I have to do is rub and I get another one. You can try this if you want, right? Do me a favor. Just rub that like that. Turn it over. See, it works every single time. It's bizarre. I mean, it is really weird. We've still got a few Your Name cards left. Would you like to see it happen visually?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let me show you it happen visually. It looks something like that. I mean, you literally just see it. It's so weird. Let me do it again. Look, I tell you what, this one you can watch as I rub and that one changes. I mean, it's just so weird. Let me try this one. Look, if I do this one, that one changes, that one changes. You can try the last one, Theo. Look, I put this there in front of you. Just rub like that, turn it over. Isn't that weird? We've now got Dave, 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 Dave. I'm so glad that you picked Dave. Thank you so much.
So I can't tell you how much I love that routine. I really, really do. But do you see what I mean about the use of digital force bag in this routine? It's not used as the main thing. Really, it's just used as one particular moment in a routine. So rather than making the whole routine around digital force bag like I did in the first routine, in this particular one, it's just one phase. It's just the opening phase. But it allows me to really make this trick more impossible, because now rather than just doing it on one person and everyone knows I know that person's name already, or I have to do pre-show, now I don't have to do pre-show. I can do it anytime, anywhere, and I'm giving the person a completely free choice of name, and they feel like they've got a completely free choice of name, and then they turn that you've got the gag, and then they turn that card over and it matches, and then that allows you to go into the amazing ending where you're doing wild card with a person's name. So there's a couple of things I want you to take away from here. The first thing I want you to take away is when you see a routine that you like, always trying to stamp your own personality onto it. Always try to make it unique to you. That's what I did with the Assy Win trick. I loved Assy Win's wildcard. I love the idea of using blank cards. I love the idea of using a spectator's name. All of that was good, but I wanted to try and make it a little bit more that would fit my style, which is why, I like joking around, I like telling gags, which is why the Your Name thing works really well, and that led to making the prediction. And then I was like, okay, if I'm going to make a prediction, I have to give them a free choice of a name. How can I do that? And obviously, immediately, digital force bag came into the equation. But now, I could go. Let's say I'm at a gig and I've got like multiple tables to go around. I can go to the first table and do the classic routine. I can go to the second table and I can do this routine. And I can and it fit, even though I'm using the same prop, I'm using it in a completely different way. Nobody would say, hang on, you've just done the same trick twice. Does that kind of make sense? And that's really important. Now, I will tell you, if you want to learn this, you can learn the handling. You'll be able to see what I did. I mean, you can learn the handling from Assy Win's masterclass from Vanishing Ink. All I did is added a Hammond count at the beginning to be able to have that moment where they can say stop anytime they want to. So that the Hammond count allows them to say stop anytime they want to, and that will always be the card with the name on it. So if you want to do the routine, Assy Win's wild card, based on Tommy Wonder's wild card, and you can figure out how my bit works that I added on top as well. But there you go, it's a really great routine. And also, when I'm at a gig, I actually have two sets of those. So I have a set with Dave, and I have another set with a different name as well. So if I want to do this trick multiple times, I'm not always using the same name, if that kind of makes sense. So if you get yourself a double blank deck of cards, you can make 3 or 4 sets up if you want to. And then if you're going to do it again, you can very easily just go into the app and you can change what the force name is going to be, and you can repeat it again with a completely different name. So there's an example of how to use digital force bag in a layered routine. So it's not the main effect, but it allows you to make the main effect more impressive. Now let's have a look at how we can apply digital force bag to a coin routine. Let's have a look at this right now. Okay, so this is another routine of mine that I think I call the Chosen One. I think that's what it's called. It's a fantastic routine. It's a great routine. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I love Harry Potter. To be honest, I love anything geeky, but I especially love Harry Potter. And there's a lesson in here, which is, if you're creating magic, try to take something that you're into, something you're interested in, and create the trick based around that. Because if you're interested in it, you're going to be more passionate about the trick that you're putting together. And that's the perfect example with this particular routine, the chosen one, because I love Harry Potter. And so when I was putting this together, it all made sense. And from a creativity point of view, I saw these coins online. I was like, oh, these coins are really cool. I'm gonna absolutely do something with those coins. I need to buy them. And then I saw a Harry Potter deck of cards, and it all came together, right? Before we do anything, I want to have a look at the performance of the routine. So I'm going to show you the performance right now, so you can have a frame of reference of how we're incorporating digital force bag into this particular routine. Let's have a look at that right now.
Look at this. This is all about Harry Potter. So I've got a few things here. We've got a purse, which I'll get back to in a minute. And I've got a pack of cards. I got these off of Amazon. These are Harry Potter playing cards. And they're really cool because each one of them has got a different Harry Potter character on them. There's like 52 cards, 54 with the Joker.
If you find the King of Hearts, you'll have Harry on.
Well, there you go. Because Ryan's got one of these packs of cards as well. But we're going to pick one at random. So, Ryan, I'm going to... actually, I'll do this with you, Thea, because you're going to help me in something else in a second, Ryan. Thea, I'm going to give these cards a shuffle. And then I'm just going to cut through the cards. I'm going to cut packets of cards onto the table like this. As I do, anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
There?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to put that there. Don't look at it just now. But we're going to put that there. We're going to get back to it in a bit, okay? That card is going to be our big finish. So we're going to leave that right there. Now, I also have this purse, and inside this purse, let me show you what's inside there. There's actually a Harry Potter coin. Now, have a look at this, because this is really cool. On the one side, I'll hold it so the camera can see it. On the one side, you've got the Harry Potter logo. And then on the other side, you've actually got a picture of Hogwarts that's kind of been sort of engraved into the coin. It's really cool, really cool. Now, right, this is what we're going to do. I don't want you to think I'm using sleight of hand at all. So put the coin, Harry Potter logo pointing up onto my finger. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Now, I do not want to go near that coin. So what I want you to do is make a fist around it like that. So come from above, make a fist, and keep your hand there so that you're in view of the camera. Okay? Now, here's what we can do. You just keep squeezing that. Now, I also have my phone. Here it is. I have my phone. And on my phone, I have a list of 100 Harry Potter characters. I went through like Wikipedia and I got all of the really unknown Harry Potter characters, and I've got 100. You're going to pick one at random, right? Give me a number between 1 and 100. Whatever number it is, we're going to use that Harry Potter character.
20.
Are you sure? Do you want to change your mind, or are you happy with 20? I don't want you saying later
50.
on. Oh, you do want to change your mind?
Yeah, 50.
Do you want to change it again?
No.
You want 50?
Yeah, 50.
Because later on you're going to go, what would have happened if I changed my mind? You want 50?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, that's fine. Have a look at this. Make sure I'm not cheating. There's the notes page. I'll hold it upside down. Now, can you see at the top, you've got 100, you've got Harry Potter characters, yeah? Yeah. You said 50. So if we go down to 50, what do we have on 50? Dobby, the house elf. Oh, Dobby. You remember Dobby?
Yeah.
Dobby's at number 50. Now, if you'd stuck with 20, you would have got...
It should say Dobby, but it says Donny. You've spelled it wrong.
Donny, there you go. It says Elberthorpe Dumbledore. So it should say Dobby, but it is Dobby. You've ended up on Dobby, is that right?
Yeah.
Perfect. You had to pick the only one that had a spelling error. Thanks very much for that, Ryan. I was up all night writing this list. So it was Dobby. Now, squeeze tightly. You were holding that coin from the very beginning, weren't you? Yeah. From the very, very beginning, you were holding that coin. And you made a fist around it, right?
Yeah.
And you could have picked anyone, and you picked Dobby. Turn your hand over and open up your hand. Show everyone what's on there now. Because where there was a picture of the castle, it's now changed to Dobby, the house elf. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Yeah. Like, you could have thought of anybody. You could have changed your mind and gone for somebody else, but you ended up with Dobby. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Thea, from the very beginning, you picked a card.
Okay.
And that card's been there, and I said that all of the cards had different characters on them.
Yeah.
If I told you that had Dobby the house elf on it as well, and you picked the card that matched the coin and the character that Rylan picked, would that be awesome?
Yeah.
Check it out. We have Hermione Granger. Well, she looks a little bit like Dobby. She's, okay, she looks nothing like Dobby. You picked Hermione. You ruined the trick, Thea. You were supposed to pick Dobby. It's okay, I can fix this. Watch the coin. If I snap my fingers, I can change that Dobby into Hermione Granger right there. And that is why I got kicked out of Hogwarts.
Okay, so that's a super commercial, super fun routine. It really is. There is so much, and I genuinely mean there is so much going on in that routine. But you can see the use of digital force bag. You can see the use of it, right? So it's being brought out to force something at one particular part of the routine. But the other thing is, it's allowing me, I'm motivated, I have a motivated reason to go into the pocket to get the phone. So as I'm getting the phone, it's allowing me to steal coins or ditch coins, which is a very important consideration as well that a lot of people don't think about with digital force bag. And that's this. Digital force bag is used, you have to have a phone to do it, right? You have to have a phone to do digital force bag. So, at some point you have to go into your pocket. So if you're doing a routine that involves ditching gimmicks or stealing gimmicks, well, that's a completely motivated time to go into your pocket. So how can you incorporate the use of the phone into a routine that makes the rest of the handling of the routine more natural? This routine becomes very, very easy to do. Even though it's a coin routine and the switch is taking place throughout the coin routine, the use of the phone makes it very easy because I've got a motivated reason to go into my pocket and not go into my pocket. And it also means that I don't have to, I've got a deck of cards there. I could do multiple riffle forces, but if I combine forces with the deck and I combine forces with digital force bag, then it suddenly becomes it suddenly becomes more layered as a routine, if that makes sense. And that's something that I do try to do all of the time. And I'll give you another example. A lot of you will know my routine gossip. And if you don't know my routine gossip, the whole idea is that you bring out a magazine and the insert of a magazine with a whole bunch of lists on it. And somebody looks at a list, somebody else looks at a celebrity on that list, and you know who the celebrity is, which means that you can then go into a baby gag or a whole bunch of different reveals of that celebrity. It's available from Alakazam. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is one way that I use digital force bag is I combine it with gossip, and that's the same example that I'm giving you here. Because in the Chosen One, in this Harry Potter routine, I'm doing multiple forces, and digital force bag is just one of those. Well, it's the same with this routine with gossip. I'll do gossip on a spectator, so I'll have one spectator think of a celebrity off this list of lists, and they're thinking of a celebrity. I know who that celebrity is, but they couldn't possibly know that I know who the celebrity is. And then I say to the second person, well, I took all of the 100 celebrities off that list and I wrote them down in my notes page of my phone. Give me a number from 1 to 100. And so they give me a number and I say, open up the notes page yourself, go down to the number. Do you see the celebrity? You do. Fantastic. So you're thinking of a celebrity. Are they all different? Yes. You're thinking of a celebrity and everything on that sheet of paper was different, wasn't it? Yes. On the count of 3, I would like you to both name your celebrities out loud at the same time. 1, 2, 3. And they both say Johnny Depp or Tom Cruise or whatever it may be. That's an incredible moment of synergy, right? That's a great demonstration of coincidence or synergy. It's a great thing to do on a married couple because you can use that hook line. Hey, have you ever found that you finish each other's sentences? Hey, blah, 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 blah. So, but that is using digital force bag, combining it with another force, the gossip force, and creating this incredible moment. And I'm telling you, when they both say the name of the celebrity out loud, people freak out, right? The other thing in terms of this gossip handling that I just mentioned to you, and I wasn't even going to mention this, but obviously it's just come up, is it illustrates another way that you can do digital force bag. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, when they do digital force bag, they will openly look at the particular thing they're forcing at. So they'll go, okay, what number do you want? 47, let's have a look at 47. It's this. Okay. You could have thought of anything, right? But you've got this. And you'll see that that's a way that I use it a lot during the course of this routine and during the course of a bunch of routines that I'm going to show you. But in that routine with gossip, when you've set digital force bag and you open up your notes page, you give the phone to them and they look it up themselves and they're not telling you. So it's not like you're seeing, the only person who knows it is them. So that's another way to actually use, and I see a lot of people using digital force bag and they always do the thing where they openly look at it along with the audience. But you can just have it so that the only person who's looking at it is the person with the phone. Which is, as I say, what I'm doing in this gossip routine. So there you go. So that's kind of two extra routines there for you. You've got the one with the Harry Potter, the Chosen One, which is a great routine, and then you've got the combining it with gossip to create this coincidence effect. What I want to do now is I want to share with you a routine that I used the Turner watch for. I don't anymore because now I use Timesmith. I've got rid of my Turner watch because Timesmith is so much better. But I want to share with you how I originally used the Turner watch in conjunction with Digital Force Bag to solve a problem that I had an issue with. You're going to see what I mean. Let's have a look at let's have a look at this next routine right now.
Okay, Matt, Laura, Liz, we're going to do something a little bit weird. It involves a couple of predictions. Now, the time at the moment is 4:20 something, right? We're going to, is that right?
No, 4:42.
That's what I meant. 4:40. I'm tired, dude. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I'm going to make a couple of predictions. I need to borrow your phone if you can. And if you can grab me your phone, I appreciate it. And unlock it though so I can do a search. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to twiddle my knob.
Oh dear.
There we go.
Da, da,
I'm setting the time here and I'm going to push my knob in. Hold your hand out for me.
That's what she said.
Can you squeeze? That's very good. I've set that to a particular time. Is that unlocked and ready to... How do I search it? Because I don't use... I just need to go on... I need to go on... Well, I use Safari. I need to go on the internet and search.
The internet.
I want to search an image. So, is this how I do this? Brilliant. I'm going to search an image. So I'm going to make two predictions. One on the watch and one on your phone. Two predictions. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for. That's brilliant. So if I switch that button, there's a button I press to switch it. Yeah, so that goes off now, right?
Yeah.
So when we switch this phone on, that picture will be staring you in the face, right?
Yeah.
So there's two predictions going on here. I've set the watch to a particular time. I've set the I've searched for an image, and that's on your phone. Okay, so I've kind of committed myself. Now, in a second, Reagan's here as well. Hi, Reagan. In a second, I'm going to go on my phone, and I'm going to I'm going to show you a list. I have a list on here of nightmares. Has anybody ever had a really bad nightmare? Yeah. I did some research on the internet, and I looked up the 100 worst nightmares. You know, like the 100 worst themes that people have when they have a nightmare. What's the worst nightmare you've ever had?
Liz Kelly.
Liz Kelly, yeah, I can believe that. Liz, what's your worst nightmare?
Laura Lyon.
Laura, I know that as well. Okay. Before we do this, we're going to name a time. Now, I want you to imagine that because this is all in your imagination. I want you to imagine you're asleep. Now, you can be like a normal entertainer, so you can be sleeping in the day. It doesn't have to be at night. You can be sleeping any time you want to. When I snap my fingers, I want you to imagine that you've had a nightmare and you've woke up and you've looked at the clock. Have you got a clock in your bedroom? Or do you look at your watch face or your phone face? Okay, so when you wake up, you look at your phone to check out what the time is. Yeah, I want you to imagine that you're in your bed, you're having a really horrible nightmare, you wake up, and you pick up your phone to look at the time. You want to know what time it is, right? Okay. When I snap my fingers, you're going to name that time. It can be something really random. It could be the middle of the day. It can be like literally to the minute. I want a very specific time. Can you do that for me?
Okay.
If you can do that right now.
4:34.
Now, here's the important thing. You can change your mind if you want to. Okay. I don't want you turning around and saying, Craig made me... Are you happy with 4:30? You look happy. I mean, but it's up to you.
Yeah, let's go with 4:34.
Yeah?
You couldn't have known that.
There's no way I could know. There's no way I can know 4:34. Okay, good. So here's what we're going to do. Look.
If he gets this, I'm leaving early, by the way.
Here's what I'm going to do. Look. So, I have a list of 100 different things you could possibly have a nightmare about on my phone. You're going to give me a number between 1 and 100. You're going to commit yourself to that nightmare before we even do anything. Because, I mean, if I asked... normally you ask somebody's name a nightmare... I mean, you guys were weird, but most people will say, like, you know, like losing their teeth or losing their hair or stuff like that. So we're going to make it random. Give me a number between 1 and 100.
17.
17. Are you sure? I don't want you saying later on that I made you pick 17. It's really important that everything here is really fair.
Yeah, you didn't make me pick 17.
I didn't make... Okay. So here's the thing. There's my... Oh, sorry, hang on. There's... I won't even scroll. There we go. There's my notes page there. Yeah?
Yeah.
And you can see common nightmares at the top, right?
Okay.
Your hands are free, so I'm gonna show you. Number 17 is
zombies.
Zombies. Now it's not like zombies is showing all the way through. I mean, you got Beanstick, Stuck in a Hospital, Armageddon, spiders in mouth, hair falling out, teeth falling out, blah 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 blah. Dinosaurs trapped in a movie, getting fat,
dying and going to hell.
Dying and going to hell. These are terrible. But number 17 is zombies, right?
Zombies.
Now, there's no way I could have known that you would have ended up with zombies. And what was the time? It was 4:34, right?
4:34.
4:34 zombies.
Yeah.
And before you did that, I did an image search, and I also set my phone to a particular time, right?
Yeah.
Just open up your hand. Just open, because this would be weird. What time did you say?
4:34.
4:34. What time is on there?
Oh my god!
Now, you're probably thinking, well, that's not quite 4:34. You've been holding this watch for like 2 minutes now.
I have.
So is that correct?
That would have been, yeah.
Would that have been
when I
4:30?
said it? Yeah.
When I set that, would that have been 4:34?
Yeah.
When
I said it, yeah.
Yeah. When you said so, but here's the weird thing. I also did an image search on your phone. 4:34.
Now I really am
And a
going to have
zombie.
nightmares about zombies.
Okay, so that's one of my favourite routines to perform, and I still perform it now. The only difference is now when I perform it, I use my Timesmith watch instead of a Turner watch. By the by, you've just seen the performance of the routine. It's a really cool presentation because it's again layered. It's layered in that it's not just about, you see a lot of people performing a time revelation, whether it be the Turner watch or Timesmith, and they'll have someone think of a time, they hold on to it and the time matches, and that's just the basic way of doing it. And you'll see a lot of people using digital force bag, and they'll just name a thing, oh look, I've predicted, whatever it may be. This is an example of using digital force bag to solve a problem. Now, my problem with the Turner watch was the input method, and I don't want to go into this in any great detail, but the problem was the input method. I really struggled using the input method for the Turner watch in the pocket. I just did. I really struggled with it. And it made the Turner watch almost useless for me. And I wanted to be able to find out a way of inputting the information that I needed into the phone organically. So that's why I came up with this routine, because you start off by showing somebody the watch, you give them the watch, you get them to name a time, and you say, well, I'll get back to that in a minute. I also want to show you something on my phone. And as I take the phone, I do what I need to do to input the information that I need to input for the Turner watch, but it looks to the audience like I'm just opening up my phone. And now I have to have a reason to open up my phone. So that's why I then go into digital force bag. Because I need a reason to open up my phone. I can't just open up my phone for no reason. And that's where the routine came together. It was like, well, okay, how can I solve this problem with the Turner watch? Well, I could open my phone, but why would I open my phone? Well, I could open my phone to do something else. What could I do? Oh, digital force bag. Now, how would that go? What presentation could I use? Oh, I've got an idea, and you kind of go down that route, right? Now, it's made infinitely easier with Timesmith, because with Timesmith, one of the input methods is actually by having a fake lock screen, and you can just boom, and look like you're unlocking it with the keypad, and you're good to go. So this is a routine I do an awful lot, especially around about Halloween, because it's obviously quite a spooky routine. But I wanted to share this routine with you very, very simply, because it's an example of using digital force bag in a routine to solve a problem I had with a particular prop. Right, so and that's really important. I didn't set out to create that routine thinking, right, okay, how can I use digital force bag in this context? It was nothing like that. It was more about I've got this Turner watch. I'm not happy with the input method. How can I fix this? And then it grew to this logical routine. So if you have got digital force bag, think about routines that you've maybe used or you haven't used, or you've got issues with or something, and that you can combine it with other, you can combine it with other props or other ideas or other concepts, maybe concepts you've used or concepts you haven't used, to make this trick that's not just about predicting something off a phone, but again, and I keep going back to this because I think it's so important, but again, it's layered. And it's built into the method, and it's one big routine, and DFB is just one part of that routine. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so one piece of advice that I would give you is, if you are a DFB user, if you have got digital force bag installed on your phone, join the Facebook group, because there's some amazing ideas that people post in the Facebook group, some really, really good ideas. And one idea that came about a little while ago now, at the beginning of COVID, was using digital force bag in conjunction with card and phone to create a card and phone without actually needing a deck of cards. And the concept behind it was, you know, with social distancing, you don't want people to pick a card. You don't want people to hold onto your phone. So here's a way of doing it. And man, this is good. This is so good. This is great. Now, I've seen a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I've seen an element of magicians say, well, it doesn't make any logical sense. Why would you have them pick a card from a list? And my attitude is a lot of stuff that magicians do doesn't make sense, doesn't make it not good. I love the idea behind this. I really do. I think this is a very clever idea. As I say, it's a way of combining digital force bag to force a particular card along with card in phone. So you don't even need a deck of cards. You just need one pre-folded card and you are good to go. And man, this kills. It is very, very strong. You don't think it's going to be as strong as it is, to be perfectly honest. When you kind of think to yourself, okay, this is how it's going to work, let's go and do it. Until you actually try this in front of a real audience, you won't realize the power of this routine, but it is very, very powerful. I'm going to give you a full performance of this right now. So let's have a look at a full performance of it, and then we'll quickly talk about it. Okay, so I'm here with Sarah. How you doing, Sarah?
Yeah.
And we're going to do a trick with my mobile phone, with my smartphone, okay? Now, on my phone, I have, you know, the notes page on the phone. Yeah. I know you use the notes a lot. You've got lots of notes. I've got lots of notes, but I've got some really random notes on my phone. And one of the notes that I have on there is I have a list of 100 random playing cards.
Of course you do.
Well, yeah, exactly. And we're going to use this to do a trick, because in a minute I'm going to get you to think of a card. Right. Now, psychologically, when you ask somebody to think of a card, they typically will think of a Queen of Hearts or a King of Hearts or maybe an Ace of Spades. They'll go for something like that, maybe a King of Spades, something like that. Okay. So I want it to be completely at random. So I've got this list of 100 random playing cards, and they're all in a completely random order from 1 to 100. Some of the cards appear there twice because there's obviously only 52 cards in the deck. But this is a great way to get a random card for you. I'm going to give you the phone in a minute, and you are going to look up a random card. And how we're going to do this, I would like you to think of a number from 1 to 100. Have you got one?
Yes.
Great. Tell me what the number is.
32.
And are you happy with that number? Because I don't want you saying later on I made you pick 32.
No, it's fine.
Okay. So I'm going to go over here. Do you see the notes page right there?
Yes.
I want you to take this phone. I want you to open up the notes page.
Okay.
Now, when you open up the notes page, you should see that there's lots of different notes.
Yes.
But one near the top should say 100 random playing cards.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favour, open up that note? And then what I want you to do is I want you to go to your number. But before you do, have a look at all of the cards that you can see that they're in a random order. They're all over the place. Yeah, it's not like they're Ace of Clubs, 2 of Clubs, 3 of Clubs. They're all random. Can you do me a favour? Can you see the card at number 32?
Yes.
Now, it's not like that's at every single number, is it? If you thought of a different card, a number, it would have been a completely different card. Would you agree?
Yes.
Now, you know on an iPhone where you want to go back to the home page, you just swipe up from the bottom?
Yeah.
Can you do that for me and just swipe up so you go out the notes page? Can you just swipe up for me? Amazing. And then pass me the phone back. That is wonderful. Thank you very much. So now the notes page is even shut down. So there's no way, absolutely no way I could know what your card is. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So if I told you the card that you're merely thinking of, if I told you I could make it appear right here in the phone, would that be good?
Yes.
I'm going to make it appear. Watch. I'm just going to wave my hand over. 1, 2, 3. And look at that. There is a card appeared right there under. Now, believe it or not, that's actually your card. You probably don't believe me. The only way to prove it is to pull it out like that. You see, now I've pulled it out. And you haven't told anyone the name of this card. It was a totally random card.
Yeah.
What was the name of the card?
I'll tell you now.
Yeah, tell me.
4 of Clubs.
4 of Clubs. And yet one card appeared right there. And the one card that appeared that I pulled out was indeed the 4 of Clubs. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, that is.
I have no idea how that worked. Okay, so isn't that a stunning routine? And, you know, from a social distancing point of view, it's it's great, really, isn't it? From a social distancing point of view, they don't need to touch anything. But also, it's about as close as you can get to having an everyday carry. Because I have my phone in my case, and I have a folded up card behind the phone in the case. So when I want to do the routine, I take the case off the phone, And I'm just set. I've just got the card sitting there automatically. Everything's self-contained. I do the thing, I pull it out, I'm good to go. So for this, you will need Digital Force Bag, and you're also going to need the Card to Phone app, which is an incredible app that you should use anyway, because it's not just card to phone. It's kind of like anything. I've pulled so many different things out of my phone over the years, because the app allows you to pull out pretty much anything, especially if you upgrade to the Pro version. But there's lots of different back designs. You can do it with so many different back designs, and the card can be folded face inwards or face outwards, or however you want it to be. But you will need to have the Card to Phone, which is available from the App Store, and you will need Digital Force Bag, which is available from the App Store. But again, this is an example of combining two concepts. You're combining two apps in this case to create a routine. So you've got the Force, you've got the Revelation, and it's all built into one phone. And if there's one thing that I want you to take away from this video, it's try to get creative with what you use Digital Force Bag for. Don't just do the same thing that everyone else does. Try to come up with something different. How can you come up with something different? Well, using this concept, what could you do? Well, we've already discussed about how Card to Phone can force pretty much anything. It can force coins, it can force miniature Rubik's Cubes, it can force pen lids, mini Sharpies. It can pretty much force anything. So how about having a list of 100 random items on your phone? And you say to the audience, hey, I've got a list of 100 random items here, just completely random stuff. You're going to give me a number from 1 to 100. Boom, 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 boom. What is it? Oh, it's an 8 ball. Okay, that is pretty random, because if you'd gone one more, it would have been a paperclip. If you'd gone one previously, it would have been a banana. But you ended up with an 8 ball. That was a free choice. Yeah, if I just wave my hand over the phone, look, an 8 ball appears. How cool is that? You could have said anything, right? Isn't that weird? But if I just snap my fingers, look, that 8 balls become real. You can examine that. So now we're taking it away from playing cards. And now we're thinking about, well, now let's have a list of 100 random things. And let's just use what we're going to have in our pockets anyway. What are you going to have when you go to a gig? Are you going to have a coin? Great, have it for the coin. Are you going to have I always have an 8 ball with me. Are we going to use an 8 ball? Brilliant. Let's have that there as well. What else can we have? And then you can change it from table to table. So now you've taken a routine that's about cards, and we've turned it on its head, and we've gone in a completely different direction, right? So how can you do that? How can you take Digital Force Bag and apply it to other concepts to create a routine that's completely unique to you? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. Okay, so I've done videos in the past about openers, and I've talked about the importance of having a strong hook and having a routine that's kind of quick and snappy, whilst at the same time establishes credibility. And you can go back and look at the videos that I've done on openers if you want to. What I'm going to share with you right now is a really cool way to open a set when you're performing at a table. Really cool way. What you have to do with this, and you'll see it in a minute, you'll see a performance with this in a minute, but you want to just get yourself a piece of rope, which is going to sound random, but do it. Get yourself a piece of rope, put it inside a card case, and take that and put it in a brown bag, one of those bags that you use for Rubik's Cube magic, and you're good to go. Okay, that's your setup. Now this is going to make I love doing this. This is such a great opener. I'm going to perform it for you now, and then we're going to talk about why it works. So let's have a look at the full performance. Right, I've got Sarah behind the camera. Sarah, I am going to show you the best trick ever. I'm going to show you a trick with a particular prop. I have that prop here inside the bag. But rather than just doing the trick for you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if you can guess what I'm doing my trick with. We're going to do it in a particular way. On my phone, I have, on the notes page, I have a list of 100 different tricks and 100 different props that magicians use. So there's everything on there, big stage illusions, smaller props, absolutely everything. You're going to look at one of these completely at random by giving me a number from 1 to 100. What number would you like to give me?
1 to 100. 48.
48. Are you sure?
Yeah.
You don't want to change your mind? 48 is okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let me go over to my notes page. Now, there's my notes page. Can you take that for me? There you go. I know you're behind the camera, but if you can take it, that'd be great. Okay, have you got it?
Yeah.
Now, open up the notes page for me.
Okay.
And you should see a list that says, near the top of the notes page, it should say Magician's Props. Do you see Magician's Props?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So open up that list. And then what I want you to do is go down to 48.
and I want you to tell me what the prop is that's at number 48.
Read it out.
Yeah, go for it.
Rope.
Rope. Okay, that's interesting. And the one before, that's completely different, right? That's a totally different prop.
Yeah.
And the one afterwards, is that a totally different prop?
Yes.
Like, if you look through that list, you'll see there's things like chainsaws on there. You'll see there's stuff like...
Quite relieved it's not, yeah. Okay.
Quite relieved it's not a chainsaw. And I said I was going to show you the most amazing trick ever, and I was going to predict what I was going to use. If I had here a piece of rope, would that be a good trick?
Yes.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? In all honesty, I haven't. I've got a card trick. I've got a because that's what magicians do. They do card tricks. You don't look very impressed. But, you know, if you want a rope trick, I can do a rope trick for you. Because if I take my fingers, snap my fingers inside the cards, I have a piece of rope, and now we can do a rope trick. There you go. That's for you, Sarah.
Thanks.
Now, that is such a great routine because you walk over to the table, you're going to establish credibility very, very quickly. It's going to be humorous, it's going to be funny, which is going to put my personality across, and it's also going to be really magical as well. So, how you know, you just take out the bag, you put the bag on the table, and you say, "I've got a prediction in there," because I like to make my magic interactive. So I'm going to perform for you guys, but I'm going to let you choose the type of magic that I perform. I've got a list of 100 different things that magicians could do. It's completely up to you which one you go for. You're going to decide at random by giving me a number from 1 to 100, but I guarantee I know what it is that you're going to pick because I'm going to have it predicted inside my inside that bag. So the bag's right there. Name a number. Blah 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 blah. Okay, rope magic. Well, if you'd said one before, it would have been sawing the lady in half. So you know, at least it's not that. But you said rope magic, and I knew you'd pick rope magic because inside this bag I have a pack of cards. Well, does anybody here like card tricks? No? Well, luckily I've got in here a piece of rope. And it's kind of like that magician in trouble thing. You build this whole thing up. It's giving it a really interactive feel. It makes the opening of your show feel very interactive, that you're giving them a chance to decide what style of magic that they're going to see. You can have lots of really random stuff in the list as well, which makes it really funny for the right crowd. You read this stuff out and you're like, well, you know, it could have been this, it could have been this, it could have been this. You then bring out the bag and you show the bag and you pull out this pack of cards. And this is an old gag, having something else in a pack of cards. But in the context of this, they think that you've failed. You've got this deck of cards, and you go, "Oh, anybody like card tricks?" No. Luckily, I've got a piece of rope in here because I knew what you want. And it's kind of you set the expectations really high. Then they see that you failed, and then when you get the revelation at the end, it's really strong. It's over in a couple of minutes. It's very funny, and it really establishes credibility. The other thing is you don't need to put a rope in there. You can put anything into that card box that you want to. So you can put a whole bunch of rubber bands in there and do it as a rubber band thing and have them pick rubber bands. You can put coins in there and have them pick coins. Anything that you want to, you can put inside that deck of cards. But because I would advise using a card box, because playing cards and magicians are so iconic, you know, you've got that visual where you pull the cards out, but then you pull out whatever it is that they've actually picked out of the card case. So think about your act. What is it that you're going to open with? Is it going to be sponge balls? Brilliant. Shove your sponge balls in there. What's it going to be? You can use this as an opening routine to create a magical moment before you even start performing your opening routine, right? And as I say, it makes it really, really interactive. So that's an opener that I've used in banquet situation and parlor shows for many, many years. Ever since I got digital force back, this was one of the first things that I actually thought of with it. But yeah, try it. I think you'll really, really like it. It's obvious what's happening here, but give it a go, because until you've tried this in front of a real audience, you just won't realize how good this is. So there you go, guys. That's the hows and whys of the digital force bag. Look, in all honesty, there's a million other routines. I bet there's people that are watching this that have got their own routines with digital force bag that are absolutely fantastic. My reason for putting this video together is I wanted to say to everybody that's watching this, don't just do things the same way as everyone else. Try and add a bit of creativity and think about how you can layer your routines. How can you take digital force bag and include it into a routine that's layered so it becomes one element of the final routine, as opposed to everything running around digital force bag. And also, if you've got routines that you use digital force bag for, let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know about them. I really, really would. Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you want to see more videos like this, please do me a favor and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I love reading your comments, so please leave a comment down below. And I will be back again tomorrow on Friday with a magic rant at 9 o'clock, a short at 2 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock we're going to have a Magic Live. So I'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic.